Welcome to the show for this week's Super Rugby review, with the focus on a scratchy first up loss for the Highlanders, who will savour the bonus point and no doubt move onward and upward. Elsewhere, the Chiefs send out a clear message that they'll be hard to beat with or without Sonny Bill, missing among other key names when beating the Brumbies, Charlie Ngatai the standout. In Melbourne, the Rebels almost notched up a second major scalp in as many weeks, but the Tars finished the stronger. It was 2 in a row for the Canes, and the Republic edging ahead of the Bulls thanks to a Julian Savia try and a top game from Brad Shields prior to that. Adam Thompson's return to the comp undoubtedly helped the Reds turn their form around, and the red card for Hayden Triggs made the already difficult task of beating the Stormers impossible for the Blues. And Sharks are at home in water, so too their namesakes when beating the Lions in the wet.
Well, Tony, was it a simple case of they'd had a game and you hadn't? Do you think that was the difference between the sides?
Yeah, I think so. I think looking back on that 80 minutes, I think there was just first game rust from us. Didn't quite execute as well as we should have, and yeah, I think they were playing their second game after having a pretty poor performance last week, and they were pretty desperate, and I guess forced us into a lot of mistakes, which normally I'd back ourselves to execute there.
It's frustrating because you couldn't get your playmakers into the game, could you, till quite late in the piece?
No, we couldn't, get it. We couldn't hold the ball for long enough to get our back three in that attack. And there was glimpses at the end of that Waisaki Naholo is going to be pretty exciting for us. And if we can get Pat the ball and Bender the ball and Malakai the ball a bit more and a bit of space, then it's going to be pretty exciting.
What did you make of your new guys in the front row and how they accommodated this level?
Yeah, I thought they did great. Our scrum held up really well. There's a few penalties either way, but it's pretty exciting when we can have a pretty stable platform to attack off from scrum. So it's going to be, hopefully a good season for us.
It's good to see the All Blacks, Aaron Smith, quickly back into stride, the likes of him, and relying on him leading the team.
Yeah, exactly, and the All Blacks have fitted in pretty well, and Aaron Smith always plays at 100 miles an hour, and I thought he did really well tonight in his first game, so he'll be better for that next week. And even Fumiaki coming off the bench added a lot there as well.
And you'd be happy with the point at the end of the day, though? That was a good decision, I thought, to kick the goal and get something out of the game.
Yeah, I think so. I think deep down I don't think we were good enough to win tonight, but getting a point out of the game and having a chance to win at the end is really important for us, and we can take confidence from that and take on the Reds next week with better performance and better execution.
I'm really proud of the way the guys played in that first 15 minutes and set us up well when we did enough to hang on in the end.
You must have been head spinning in that last performance. Did you have to really start from scratch, or was it just a matter of pulling the troops together and giving them some direction?
Oh, it's a pretty simple solution for us, really. We just didn't front up physically in the first game and around our collisions, ball carry, clean out, and turned over too much ball. So that was much better tonight and probably flowed into our game.
A lot of energy I felt too, and a positive attitude to running the ball and keeping them honest.
Yeah, definitely something we talked about, and we know they're a pretty solid defensive outfit, so we had to speed the ball up and try and keep them on the back for as much as we could. And I thought Mitch Drummond and Slady did a good job at driving the team around.
Just absolutely impressed with Mr. Drummond. I think 2 weeks ago you had a halfback crisis. It doesn't look like a crisis to me.
No, young guys just need an opportunity, don't you? You don't really know until they're in the cauldron, and he showed massive amounts of composure under pressure, and he's just getting better and better, so we look forward to seeing some more.
And Colin Slade's straight back in the first 5. It's wonderful to have that option, isn't it?
Oh, he's an outstanding footy player. I thought he played tough, directed things well. Probably could have made things a little bit easier towards the end there when we were trying to get out of our own end, but I thought for the most part he was outstanding.
And as he back to his fluent best, and unfortunately subbed. Is bad news or not?
He just had a bit of a strain. Actually picked it up during the week, so we knew he was a little bit tight going into the game, and then he just felt it in that first 15 minutes, so didn't want to risk him, and we had Tom Taylor on the bench, who's a pretty handy replacement as well.
Looking a little further ahead, Nandolo, is he back soon?
Still had to assess him at the start of next week to see if he's going to be available for selection or not, so we've got to set him up to perform. We don't want to just get him out there and go through the motions, so we'll just make that call probably next week.
We've got the other players on the outside stamping their claim. He's not going to walk into this team.
Oh, it's a good thing about guys stepping up and performing. I thought Johnny McNichol was outstanding on the wing tonight, and he's had 2 really tough performances, and Robbie Fruin, he stepped up tonight as well, so those guys, they all want a jersey, so they're going to have to compete for them.
And just on your own aspirations, when do you go offshore?
head off in July, so plenty of time to enjoy here first. It's always going to be a tough game. I mean, we're playing against pretty much half an All Black side, and obviously would have been disappointed with their performance last week and showed a little bit of backlash, and we were expecting that, but probably didn't deal with it the best way we should have, and our own mistakes sort of let us down in the end.
It looked like a fast-paced game, continually on the move. Did it play out that way on the field?
Yeah, we probably, in that first half, were guilty of playing a bit too much rugby. To be honest, didn't turn them around. Probably were a little bit excited and kept the ball in hand a little bit too much. But you've got to give them credit for the way they played. I thought they counter-attacked brilliantly and took their opportunities really well. But yeah, looking forward to the next time we come up against them up there.
Both teams turned over quite a bit of ball at the breakdown, didn't they? Especially in the early part of the game, because was that just the intensity of people wanting to get their hands on the ball? Yeah,
I think so. Maybe we just didn't get a gauge on how it was being refereed as well. I'm not sure. It's probably also a sign of the quality loose forwards that are out there and how competitive the breakdown is these days. It's if there's a little sniff of an opportunity, most guys can take it these days. So, yeah, but it was probably everyone being a bit gassed too and not being able to get to the rucks in time.
But it is a mobile 8. When you hang onto the ball, you seem to be able to move the ball and everyone wants a touch.
Yeah, I think when we get that going, yeah, we're a dangerous side. But like I said, I think we probably gassed ourselves in that first half and we were guilty of playing too much rugby. So if we can get that balance right in our game, then we're going to be a dangerous side.
And you got within 7 at the end, 10 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go. Did you feel you had a sniff? Was there enough left in the tank?
Yeah, I think we had the fitness there. Like we back ourselves on going the full 80 and that we're a really fit side. But yeah, we just obviously couldn't hold the ball for longer periods of time than what they could and probably gave away a couple of penalties that were crucial in the end.
It's crucial, isn't it? Nice to get a point today, but you really need the whole set next week.
Yeah, well, that's right. If we can get that, then we're back in the mix and we're not too far off the pace because, yeah, come sort of 6 or 7 rounds down and you haven't got a couple of wins under your belt, you're a little bit off the pace. So, yeah, we need to make sure that we get our season on track next week.
Well, Colin, not a perfect performance, but a big step up from last week.
Yeah, exactly. We got the win and that's what we came here for. And, you know, we put in patches, we put a performance in we were proud of, but obviously still plenty to work on. But like I said, just more relieved to get the win this early for the season.
What are the instructions for you as first 5 today? What sort of game plan did they want you to play to?
We talked a lot sort of about matching up physically. You know, we sort of let ourselves down last week, so our boys got a bit direct. So it was actually probably a little bit easier for me just to call the runners and try and go through them before we look for the space. And you know, I think particularly in that first half, it worked well for us. You know, in the second half we didn't really get much pill, so it was quite hard to sort of direct any sort of attack plan. But you know, I was pleased with the way we came through. I suppose it was testing times in the second half. Things weren't going our way, and yet somehow we managed to grind out a win.
Seemed to play at pace, keep the ball in play as often as possible, counter-attack from deep. That was all part of the momentum.
Yeah, I think it sort of suits our mentality. It gets us playing a little bit. You know, probably a criticism of us is we might get a bit robotic and repetitive. So you know, we get that mentality just to play with a bit of tempo. It does sort of free the shackles a wee bit and allows the boys to express themselves.
A few nervous jitters when they got within 7 at the end of the game.
Yeah, they probably were, mate. Sort of, I wouldn't say panic, but you know, like I said, it was a good character building win for us, I suppose, to hold them off of there at the end. And you know, we didn't have too many older heads out there on the field at the time. You know, we had a couple that were subbed, so it was good for the younger crew, I suppose, to muscle up and experience you know, a hard game out there and come through with a win.
Seemed to strike the ball off the tee quite well, even when you missed it. Wasn't by much, was it?
Yeah, bloody woodwork. Both
ends of the park.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bugbear of mine when I used to play down here too. I used to hit the woodwork here, but yeah, look, pretty happy with how the form's going there. So I'll just keep chipping away at it and hopefully get more down the middle.
The Zoo have short memories, don't they? You don't get a lot of support anymore.
Yeah, well, I made the mistake of coming out 5 minutes early for warm-ups and just took 5 minutes of abuse, so it's might just keep in the sheds a little bit longer next time.
Good buzz though in the stadium, isn't it? With 17,000, you just can't beat that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reflection of the city, and that though we can, students really get into it, and it was no different tonight. You know, obviously some of those guys that were the first experience at a Highlanders game, and they ripped into it, and it just adds to the atmosphere, I suppose, and it's great for us, I suppose, playing. It's obviously challenging hearing things, and copping some abuse, but you know, it's good. It's just a good atmosphere, and I love playing here, mate.
So looking at the table, the Stormers, who are unbeaten after 2, are at the top and ahead of the New Zealand Conference leaders, the Hurricanes. And the Brumbies make up the top 3. They head up the Aussie Conference thanks to an extra bonus point that they've picked up along the way, with all teams in that conference having already dropped a game. The Chiefs, Sharks and Cheetahs make up the top 6. Heading the Chasers are the 4th, then the Rebels, having acquitted themselves well against the 2 2014 finalists in the opening weeks. Reds will be happy with 11th after the poor start last week, while the Highlanders have the chance to leapfrog them in a single bound when they come face to face on Friday night at Forsyth Bar. And well done to the 17,005 fans who fronted up in Dunedin on Saturday.